Dear Lufthansa, we need to talk because you have so much potential. As we know, Lufthansa is actively looking to improve their in-flight experience, so today I will be sharing how I would do things differently if I was CEO or at least head of customer experience to make them an airline Germany can be proud of and to possibly allow them to charge a slight premium in revenue as well by becoming more premium. Let's start where most travelers start their trips, and this is one of the more costly places to improve without major renovations: the lounges. Specifically in this case, the business lounges, where I had the non-pleasure of spending some time before my flight recently. So, what is the point of an airline lounge? Well, in my opinion, it has a few different functions. For business people, it's a quiet place that is well equipped to work. That means having office-style cubicles that are noise isolating, fast, free Wi-Fi, plenty of charging, easy printing of documents. For everyone else, there are three primary things people are looking for. First and foremost, a peaceful, private place to unwind away from the stress of the terminal. Secondly, a varied, tasty, and fresh selection of desirable foods to keep people satisfied if they have a long layover. And the key here is desirable. The lounge needs to create an environment that offers both peace and tasty food so that I don't feel like I'd prefer to go to a restaurant in the terminal to eat instead, because at that point, a lounge is useless. Thirdly, the ability to refresh. And this means offering showers on the most basic level, of course, having adequate and well-maintained toilets, but taking it one step further, having a semi-decent rest area is hugely appreciated. So here's how I would change the lounge situation in Munich, specifically for Lufthansa, if I was in charge of Lufthansa. First of all, Lufthansa needs to scrap the concept of having a separate senator lounge and business class lounge at all their hubs. It makes no sense, it never has. It's inefficient, it wastes space, and it creates unnecessary confusion for the sake of saving a tiny bit of money, basically by offering a little less in one lounge than the other. Instead, combine both of these under a new lounge concept called the Allegris suite. This is not to be confused with the names of the seats on board, which we'll get to a little later. So why the Allegris suite? Because the word lounge is frankly tired. Using Allegris suggests that the lounges are reinvented for the new era of Lufthansa, and the word suite obviously evokes luxury and exclusivity, so what's not to like? Upon entering, you have storage lockers for baggage on one side, as well as a rest area, toilets, and showers. The rest area would be comprised of a dozen or so loungers with a clean pillow and blanket replaced between each use, obviously. Then there are earplugs available to passengers and a strict no talking and no phone policy. That part is important. Each lounger will have curtains on all sides besides the wall behind to create a private cocoon, and the attendant has a list of passengers and keeps track of everyone who might be oversleeping by noting down their boarding time when they come in to request one of the loungers/beds. Meanwhile, we have however many showers deemed necessary to fill the demand that are also managed by the same attendant as the rest area, meaning we have one person overseeing and organizing people's timeliness. Although I love a complete bathroom with a toilet, we all want that, it is inefficient, and a shower room should really only contain a sink, a hairdryer, and an actual shower to speed up each usage so more people have access. The toilets, of course, will offer individual fully enclosed cubicles that play low volume calming music, because that should be in every public bathroom. And yes, the cubicles will be fully private, not American style. So meanwhile, if you go the other direction when you enter the lounge, you are greeted by the Allegris bar, the heart of the lounge, where passengers can be served a variety of alcoholic and, of course, non-alcoholic drinks, including, we're in Germany here, beer on tap. I'm thinking this could be similar to Finnair's bar in their lounges, but I'd really go heavy on the branding. This is the Allegris bar after all, so there you'll be served cocktails like an Allegris martini, an Allegris mojito, an Allegris colada, etc. And of course, the Allegris signature, Lufthansa's new signature cocktail available on all flights in premium cabins. This should be a drink loved by Lufthansa passengers, so of course there needs to be some testing here, and it should obviously take inspiration from Asian carriers who do this at almost every airline. So why not have something like an elderflower cocktail? Elderflower liquor, prosecco, soda water, decorative elderflower garnish on top. What is not to love? And I'm sure, I love elderflower, I'm sure a lot of Lufthansa's travelers do, but if they don't, we can go for something else. It's the idea of a Lufthansa signature cocktail that matters. When it comes to food, I most strongly associate Germany, and especially German airports, with one thing I think everyone does: sandwiches. So the obvious thing to do is to lean into that. The standout feature of the buffet, in my opinion, should be a central sandwich bar that offers a variety of freshly made, high-quality sandwiches, similar to what Emirates has in its first-class lounge. If Lufthansa wanted to, they could cross-brand this with their partner Dean and David that they use for some short-haul catering, and obviously this would offer gluten-free, vegan, vegetarian options, as well as, I like this idea, offering to-go sandwiches for passengers with short connections. Quick, easy, and most importantly for Lufthansa, not too pricey to provide. Next to that, I believe there should be a German food station and a foreign food station. So for breakfast, the German food station could provide pretty standard German items like Bircher muesli, cold cuts, yogurt, cheeses, etc. The key, I believe, is to offer them in individual glass containers. This feels more hygienic. I mean, no one, I repeat, no one wants to be grabbing some sloppy Bircher muesli out of a shared bowl. We're over that. And later in the day, the German selection would transform to offer whatever they want. But, you know, I hear people like schnitzel, sausages, but the presentation is always key. So none of this, more of this. It only takes a little more work, but it makes a massive difference. And for the international food station, I think they should take a similar approach, perhaps basing their food options on what departure bank we're in of the day. So, for example, earlier departures and midday departures are generally going from Munich to the US and to India. So, for this time of day, we'd focus on more Indian and Western food. And then in the evenings, when we have more East Asian flights, so the Singapores, the Shanghais, then of course we lean into more East Asian food. If they really wanted to go all out and actually reduce food waste, how about shrinking the buffet to offer just sandwiches, cold cuts, maybe some cut fruit, some snacks, and then prioritize a la carte dining from a QR code at each table. The food could be pretty much the same as what they offer at the buffet, but a la carte always just feels more fresh and, of course, luxurious. Now, where is this food consumed? At a sit-down dining area, which is sectioned off from the rest of the lounge. Here we have real tablecloths, a few waiters taking care of the tables, drink carts where people can grab the basics they don't want to get from the bar, and some quiet jazz music. And why is music important? Because it cuts through the awkwardness of how silent many European lounges are, where you literally don't even feel like you can whisper because it's so quiet and everyone will hear you. So just a little bit of music goes a long way. If you walk past the dining area, you get to the relaxation area, not the rest area. Here we have bookshelves, privacy screens, a fake fireplace, basically to create a sense of being in a modern mountain village in the Alps, not in an airport. This will be where most people sit to wait for their flights. Of course, this area needs to have some coffee machines, some snack carts, and for people who like this, I mean, I love a good newspaper, a wall of magazines and newspapers is always much appreciated. Finally, to the side of that, we have the working area, which houses a few cubicles offering enclosed places for people to take phone calls in, focus, and get work done. That's it for the lounges, and I believe if they did this, Lufthansa would really have one of the better lounges in Europe, and that's without adding any unique amenities or gimmicky activities. They would literally just need to slightly modify the concept they have now and have a much more appealing design. Obviously, the lounge would be the most expensive and disruptive thing to update, so luckily my ideas for the onboard experience are easier and a lot quicker to implement. Before that, in today's video, I have an exciting announcement. If you ever stay at luxury hotels like the Four Seasons, the Park Hyatt, Ritz-Carlton, St. Regis, Waldorf Astoria, Conrad, Intercontinental, Six Senses, Shangri-La, I mean, you get the point. Any type of luxury hotel, and you want the highest priority of benefits, meaning you get upgrades with higher priority than even people with elite status will. You get free breakfast, you get early check-in and late checkout, a $100 property credit, and more. Then let me tell you something. You can now book luxury hotels straight through our brand new travel agency. My team is ready, it's set up, and we will ensure you get the highest priority and the best benefits you have ever gotten at hotels. What about booking through credit card portals where you get kind of the same benefits? Let me tell you, that is low priority compared to the priority you will get booking through us. We'll make sure you also get points and elite nights for your stay as you would when booking directly through the hotel. And guess what? We offer this at no extra cost. You book through us and get those benefits for the best available rate, just the same as through the hotel, or sometimes even lower. You'll also have a real person looking out for your booking, not just a chatbot. So that means if something goes wrong, you're not stuck on hold with a call center. Your advisor can speak to the hotel directly and often pull strings that a portal just can't. So go to the link at the top of the description below and experience luxury travel like never before. And oh, if you're already using a travel agent and you know the perks they provide, why not give us a try and see if we can do it even better? My team is so excited to take your travels to the next levels. And again, it doesn't cost any extra and it's a fantastic way to support the channel as well. So learn more here or down below. Now, let's start like every flight starts with boarding. And the first thing you should experience is, of course, a warm greeting from the crew when you step on board. The other thing is a feeling of being immersed in an experience. And the key to that, in my opinion, is boarding music. That music you're hearing right now in the background, that is some boarding music I whipped up specifically for Lufthansa, and it even has an epic version with lyrics that I might play later in the video. Now, when it comes to Lufthansa's seat selection and allotment in Allegris, we have some work to do because they currently have 5 different types of seats. The regular seats, the extra long bed seats, the privacy seats, the extra space seats, and the business suites. And they charge varying amounts to select these seats. But here's the thing, it is too complicated, it's too confusing, and it's a bit too expensive. I think they're welcome to market the benefits of certain seats like having an extra long bed, but I don't think that these should cost extra, or at least not more than other seats. I feel the same about the privacy seats. So let's regroup the regular seats, the privacy seats, and the extra long beds as one in a free category, allowing people to choose seats together finally, which you can't get now without paying. The other less appealing option is charging to select these seats. I know most European airlines have gone this direction, but at least then make the price the same for all 3 types, just to minimize confusion. Then feel free to charge extra for the extra space seats and the business suites, although I would probably rebrand the business suites as something like Business First, for example, to give more of the idea that this is truly close to a first-class experience. In terms of pricing from Munich to Bangalore, I think $150 for the extra space seats is about reasonable. And then for the business suites / business first, I know that's what United and maybe even Continental used to call their business, but that's long gone. We're not there anymore. And the reason I want to remove suite is just to avoid any association with the lounge. For those seats, I think $300 is reasonable. And I think you'd be much more likely to see those occupied most of the time rather than being completely empty like they were on my flights. So when you board and you get to your seat, you currently get a pretty little pillow and a blanket, along with what they call a welcome moment, which is basically a little paper bag with almonds inside. Your amenity kit is also haphazardly thrown in there somewhere. And the headphone cable is, what should we say, holding on for dear life by dangling out. It's just an underwhelming welcome. So the first order of business, which I think is most important, just to polish things up, is to add some plastic ties to the headphone cables and ensure that between every flight, the crew members that are cleaning the aircraft make sure to wind those up, store them nicely. And the only thing waiting at our seat besides the headphones, besides a water bottle and the bedding in my setup would be the menus, which should be placed upright on the side of the seat console, similar to what I've experienced on Finnair, for example. We'll get more to the contents of the menus a little bit later. Next, unfortunately, the reality is that the crew would have to do a bit more work under this setup, but I think it will be worth it. And I have an idea to encourage the crew to want to do their best on every flight to deliver as good service as possible. I'll share that shortly. But basically, upon sitting down, a flight attendant should approach you within at least a couple of minutes with a tray of welcome drinks. They introduce themselves as follows, reading my name off a little list on the drink tray. Hello, Mr. Dan, welcome on board. My name is, let's say, Kevin, and I'll be taking care of you today on board our 7-hour, 45-minute flight to Bangalore. To start, may I offer you a drink? And the pre-departure drinks offered are not the standard water, orange juice, and champagne, we need to make it more interesting and we need to make it more premium. Besides, there's already a water bottle at the seat, so we don't need to offer still water as part of that drink tray. Instead, the crew offer tropical juice, a German favorite, champagne, or just like on KLM, beer. This offers something for everyone, nods to drinks that Germans love and drinks we associate with Germany, and doesn't need any explaining, unlike their current avionic drink, which most people seem to have no idea about what it is. And this is the same reason I think we should avoid serving the signature Allegris cocktail, the Allegris signature, as part of this service, so people don't need to ask questions. Instead of almonds in that little welcome moment package, we offer an accompaniment of a little ramekin with potato chips and a small flag that says welcome on board sticking up. Both of these should be placed on these thin little paper coasters, similar to how Qatar Airways and many others serve their stuff. So after we've selected a drink, the flight attendant asks, "Do you have any questions about your flight today?" "No." "Okay, is there anything I can explain about your seat?" After that's done, they say, once again, welcome on board. Please let me know if there's anything you need throughout the flight. What a beautiful welcome. We're all happy. The flight is starting well. So after they've handed the drinks out, they come around with a new tray, possibly after everyone has settled in. And this tray houses two things. Firstly, a L'Occitane branded refreshing towel in a package, similar to how Qatar Airways offers pre-departure towels from Deep. I like that. It's simple for the crew. And these towels are served on a small plastic tray for an elevated look, like most premium airlines do. The tray also contains an amenity kit because I love when the crew hand it out. It feels more like you're getting a gift than when it's just waiting at the seat. And it also gives people the option to decline. So we could potentially be reducing waste here. But these are not the kits that Lufthansa has today. Instead, we have L'Occitane branded kits. They contain an eye mask, earplugs, L'Occitane branded products, and socks. That's it. Everything else you need is available on request, or they put it in the lavatories. I think there you could have toothbrushes in plastic, so don't worry about hygiene, shaving kits, mouthwash, body lotion, etc. They already have a few of those things in the lavatories. I think we could add to that. At this point, the safety video plays. I think Lufthansa has done a pretty good job with that one, so that's one of the things I'm not going to change. And then we push back. As this all happens, the purser comes by and says, short and sweet, "Hi, Mr. or Mrs. X. My name is X and I'm the purser on today's flight. If you have any concerns, please don't hesitate to bring them up with me. I hope you have a great flight. I'll be here if you need anything." That's it. After takeoff, we have time to look at the reinvented menus, and please, let's get rid of the random outdated photos of food that Lufthansa's been putting on their menus for decades. These are not luxurious. They're not classy. Instead, we have a classic navy blue and silver paper menu. It's sleek, it's simple, not leather like you see in this photo, just paper will be fine. I'm no airline menu developer, so I can't say exactly what the menu should contain, but all I should say is we need to bring the menu into 2025. More and more millennials and Gen Z are joining the ranks of people increasingly wanting to travel in premium cabins. So I'd say updating the food concept is really necessary for the future generations. Now, from the menu that we have on this flight, I'd say the salmon sounds quite interesting since this is sort of an attempt at Asian fusion, but the description that they use just makes it sound unappealing. This is savage, I know, but it's the truth. In my opinion, it needs to be relabeled like you see in a restaurant. So something like Sichuan fusion salmon, and underneath it put a better description like poached Norwegian salmon served with roasted baby potatoes, spicy Sichuan butter, and crispy Chinese vegetables. Describe the dish, make it sound enticing. That's what's important. And similarly, in terms of the actual presentation of the food, I think it's most important to update the main courses. So unfortunately, there's a bit more work for the crew here as well, because I believe it's really important to have some level of crew plating, placing some garnish on top. Like the Indian dish I got can go from this to something like this. I think that elevates the experience hugely. The drink list, I fear, needs to be reinvented, reborn. Let's start from scratch. The champagne can stay. The wines, I'm no wine expert, so I'll let someone else think of that. But the other drinks, am I understanding correctly that Lufthansa only has one cocktail and 0 mocktails? Because we need to work on that. So here's what I'm thinking. Besides our signature Allegris cocktail, I keep saying it wrong, besides our Allegris signature cocktail that we also had in the lounge, there could be let's say 5 different classic cocktails. Margarita, Negroni, Daiquiri, Mojito, Aperol Spritz. And again, all should be Allegris branded. For mocktails, I'm thinking, what about mixing some tropical juice with ginger ale, lemon juice, and grenadine syrup? Let's call it the Allegris Tropical. And then one with bitter lemon, Sprite, coconut cream, and syrup, the Allegris Lemon. And one with apple juice, lemon juice, sparkling water, and elderflower syrup, the Allegris Elderflower. All of these could be pre-mixed, so they're loaded on board in a juice container like most airlines do with their cocktails and mocktails. This would make it easy and quick for the crew, but just give passengers much more exciting options to drink. I think we also need to add more modern drinks to the menu in general. Besides that, things like ginger beer, kombucha, why not even add matcha, which we see on so few airlines. In terms of coffee drinks, I also think we need to add iced coffee drinks made with real espresso. So we need an espresso machine in business class as well as hot chocolate, because that is really an obvious omission here. Kids love hot chocolate and there's not many kid-friendly drinks here. In terms of presentation, Lufthansa's glassware needs a refresh. No more bland, unmemorable plates, glasses, and mugs. Their current glasses are just... no. My idea to make things interesting, it doesn't even have to be premium, just interesting, is that Lufthansa should bring its crane from the logo into more parts of the experience. Bring it to life. So certain glasses could have various interesting colors, particularly I think navy blue to reflect their prominent brand color. Some glasses could be adorned with a crane. I know this sounds crazy. It doesn't look the best, but this is just what I could find online. I think we can make it even nicer. And the drinks are always served on round paper coasters like you get on premium airlines. Meanwhile, the way meals are presented also needs to be completely revamped. Even some of the world's best airlines, Singapore Airlines and Emirates, still serve business class meals on trays. So I think we can make it easy for Lufthansa and let them keep the trays. It also makes things a lot easier for the crew, and it doesn't necessarily make or break the experience. I also actually don't mind how Lufthansa presents its cutlery in the napkin with the little navy blue thing around the napkin, but the cutlery itself I think needs some sprucing up. I picture long, slender, engraved cutlery to give a more elegant feel. And why not have some fun with the salt and pepper shakers like KLM or Virgin Atlantic? Crane salt and pepper shakers, anybody? Or how about just using an already good concept and doing something like this? A little bit of personality in the experience never hurt, as long as it's fun. For plates and bowls, I think we could look to the likes of Air New Zealand for something simple yet elegant, or even this, although I do realize this is a bit much for the likes of Lufthansa. Before and after the meal, we are given hot towels on trays. Same goes for the pre-landing meal or whatever snacks. Hot towels on trays are not necessary, but they are very nice. Now let's talk service, because how can we encourage someone to do their best at work every single day? It's tough when you have so many employees like Lufthansa, and they have so many good employees, but also some that just, can't be bothered anymore, and there's largely a reason why. The aviation market in much of the West has a problem that's understandably hard to address, but it's something that I think we have to do something about to be able to raise the service levels. And that is that the perks you get, like being able to request routes or get days off, the ones you want, are often or almost always based on seniority, so how long you've worked for the airline. And far too many crew stay at the job even after they hate it, they show up bitter and uninterested just because they've worked their way to getting the best perks and being the best treated employees in the company. Instead, the obvious thing to do for priority for days off, route bids, and even other benefits like standby tickets, confirmable tickets, and bonuses, I think should be performance-based. Obviously, Lufthansa's flight attendant unions would reject a proposal like this, but what if we make it so appealing that the majority of crew would approve it? The majority of the less senior crew that would still make up an overall majority. So even if a small group hates it, hopefully it will get through. So that is why I'm suggesting an entirely points-based system where, yes, senior crew get a certain number of points every year based on how many years they've been with the airline. So that seniority is still somewhat to their benefit. However, to earn additional points, you need compliments from passengers for your performance on flight. Now, how could that work in practice without opening up a ton of abuse and making crew go around begging passengers for reviews or feedback, which obviously we can't have? You need to prohibit crew from asking for feedback explicitly, but I think before landing on every, at least long-haul Lufthansa flight with an entertainment screen, play a video and or audio encouraging people to recognize the crew that made them happy today. So on aircraft equipped with screens, place a QR code on the screen throughout taxi after you've landed. So the whole time when people are reconnecting on their phones, place a QR code there that people can scan that immediately takes them to a page where they can leave a compliment for a crew member on their flight. This way, senior crews who perform well and make people happy will get even better benefits than before. So for them, it's a win. And then for the majority of cabin crew who have worked for Lufthansa for less than 10, 20 years, will also have a new path to getting better benefits and better recognition. To me, this is the only way to implement this sort of system at an airline in Europe. You need carrot over stick. So something to reward people rather than punish. That doesn't work. And for every compliment, a crew member would get a certain number of points, which they could then bid for their preferred routes or days off. This is another great way to let passengers' voices be heard, and in other words, create a system that does everything it can to incentivize good service. I could go on all day. I could talk about tech. I could talk about entertainment. I could talk about the app. I could talk about more details when it comes to service, but I think this is enough for you today. So what do you think about my suggestions? Do you have any additional ideas for Lufthansa? Leave them in the comments below. My main question for you guys who have sat through this whole video is, did you enjoy this format? I guess you did if you're here after so long, so I'm getting kind of a biased sample, but I have had a lot of fun preparing this video, I've got to say. So I will leave you with Lufthansa's new signature song. If I could have my way, at least. The song is a bit corny, but I kind of love it. I'm not gonna lie. And until I see you for my next video, which will be a regular review, as always, guys, fly safe. Thank you for tuning in.
Beneath the sky so endlessly wide, welcome to wings where dreams will abide. The air is pure, the clouds softly glide. Adventure begins where peace will preside. Come take flight where horizons are free. Feel the calm like a quiet sea. From the Alps to rivers that lean, Germany calls with a tranquil serene. Taste the charm of timber towns below. The Rhine's gentle curve and forests glow. Each moment aloft lets the spirit grow. The echoes of Heimat in the breezes blow. Come take flight where horizons are free. Feel the calm like a quiet sea. From the Alps to rivers that lean, Germany calls with a train.